Every year, something strange happened in Nigeria that most people never knew about. In the quiet of the night, when the moon was bright and the air was still, the earth shook gently in some cemeteries. Graves opened silently, and the dead came out, young men and women full of life again. They walked into the cities, markets, and villages, looking just like normal human beings. Some started businesses, some became neighbors, some even married and had children. But there was a mystery. They never stayed forever. They had a time limit, and when it expired, they returned back to their graves without warning. One evening, in the big city of Onitsha, a young man named Ikenna rose from his grave. He was tall, handsome, and strong. His skin glowed faintly under the moonlight, but by morning, he looked like every other person. The first place his legs carried him was the Onitsha main market, full of noise, sweat, and endless shouts of buyers and sellers. For days he wandered around, watching people, listening to voices, and learning how life worked again. Hunger forced him to make a decision. He used the little strength from his strange rebirth to start a small business. He began selling meat, fresh goat and cow meat. Nobody knew where he got his animals from, but his meat was always clean, always fresh, as if it came from another world. Customers rushed to him, shouting, "Ikenna meat na the best, clean past any other." Among all his buyers, one person stood out, Chioma, a young food vendor. She was tall, beautiful, and had a voice that sounded like music whenever she laughed. Every day, Chioma came to buy meat from Ikenna. At first, it was just business. She would smile, pay him, and walk away. But gradually, Ikenna began to notice something in his heart, a strange warmth he had not felt even when he was alive. He looked forward to her visits. When Chioma delayed, he would glance around, restless, waiting for her face to appear in the crowd. Chioma too admired him. He was gentle, polite, and always smiling, unlike the rough and impatient mis-sellers around. She liked the way he looked into his eyes when he spoke, as if he saw deep into her soul. Soon their conversations grew longer. They began to laugh together, to share stories, and sometimes they would roast corn by the roadside when the market closed. People in the market noticed. Some teased Chioma and said, "Na your husband be that." She would blush and wave them off, but in her heart, she did not mind. Still, there was one strange thing about Ikenna. No matter how close they became, he never invited her to his house. Whenever she asked where he lived, he would smile and say, "One day I will show you." But that day never came. Sometimes, when Chioma looked into his eyes, she felt a shadow, like he was hiding something heavy. Yet his smile always covered it. And so their friendship grew, slowly turning into something deeper. But under the surface, a secret was waiting.
Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Ikenna and Chioma's bond grew stronger like fire that refused to die. Every morning, when Chioma came to buy meat, she would stay longer than others. At first, people thought it was just business. But soon, everyone in the market began to whisper, "Na love they worried these two oh." Whenever Chioma sat with Ikenna, they would talk about everything. Life in the market, childhood memories, future dreams. Sometimes, Ikenna bought her gifts, necklaces that sparkled in the sun, fine wrappers, even beautiful shoes. He also supported her food business with money. Chioma's small food stand grew into a big shop because of him. Customers increased, and her name became popular in the market. One evening, after counting her sales, Chioma sat on her bed, holding a golden necklace Ikenna had given her. She whispered to herself, "Ah, this man is too good oh. He gives me everything, but he has never touched me or even asked for anything in return. This Ikenna must be a God-sent husband oh." She smiled, hugged her pillow, and dreamt of walking down the aisle with him, of having children, of living in a happy home. She told her closest friend Ngozi, "Ikenna is different. He is gentle, caring, and honest. I think he's the man I will marry. But deep inside, one thing troubled her: Ikenna's secretive life. He never allowed her to follow him home. Anytime she asked, "Ikenna, where do you live? I want to see your family," he would smile gently and say, "Don't worry, my love. You will know one day." At first, Chioma accepted it, thinking he was just a private person. But as the months went by, the excuses became too much. Sometimes, when she pressed him harder, he would change the topic or buy her something new to distract her. Almost a year passed, yet she had never seen his house, his friends, or even one member of his family. It was as if Ikenna only existed inside the market. From morning till night, he was there, smiling, selling meat, and making people laugh. But once the market closed, he disappeared into the shadows. Chioma began to feel restless.
One Sunday evening, Chioma sat in her small room, thinking deeply. The sound of children playing outside faded in her ears as her mind kept turning. She hugged her knees and whispered to herself, "This man has given me everything, but his heart is still far from me. Why does he hide his family from me? Why can't I know where he lives? Am I a stranger to him, or is there something he does not want me to see?" Her heart was heavy. She remembered all the gifts, all the laughter, all the nights she had dreamed of marrying him. Yet none of it made sense if he kept living like a shadow. That night she could not sleep. She turned on her bed, sweating even though the air was cool. Finally, she made up her mind. She would demand answers. The next day at the market, she watched him carefully. Ikenna was his usual self, smiling at customers, cutting meat neatly, greeting everyone with respect. But when their eyes met, she refused to smile back. Instead, she walked straight to him, her face serious. "Ikenna, I cannot continue like this. If you truly love me, I need to know where you live. I need to see your family. If not, this relationship cannot go on." Her heart was heavy. Her words struck him like thunder. Ikenna froze, his knife hanging in the air. His chest became heavy, and for a moment he could not breathe. He loved Chioma deeply, but the truth, his truth, was too dark for her to understand. He forced a smile. "Chioma, my love, not today. Please, trust me." But Chioma shook her head, her eyes filled with tears. "No more excuses, Ikenna. If you can't show me your world, then maybe I don't belong in it." For days after that, Ikenna avoided her. He closed his stall early whenever she came around. Sometimes he acted busy. Other times he pretended not to hear her. But Chioma persisted. She followed him, stood in front of his stall, refused to leave. One Saturday evening, after closing from the market, Ikenna stood in silence, staring at her. The sun was sinking, painting the sky with blood-red colors. People were packing up their goods, shouting goodbyes. Chioma stood with her arms folded, waiting. Finally, Ikenna's lips parted. His voice was low, almost like a whisper. "All right, today I will take you to my home." Chioma's heart leapt. Joy filled her face instantly. She quickly rushed home, dressed up in her best wrapper, and returned to him. Her friends teased her on the way. "Chioma, na today you go meet your in-laws, oh." She just laughed, her cheeks glowing. But inside her, a small voice whispered, "What if what you see is not what you expect?" Still, she brushed it aside. Love had blinded her, and all she wanted was to finally break through the wall around Ikenna's life. She joined him, holding his hand tightly as they walked out of the market together, heading towards the unknown.
They entered a taxi. The ride was quiet, but Chioma's heart was dancing with joy. Finally, after so many months of waiting, she would see the family of the man she loved. She imagined his mother smiling at her, his father welcoming her, and his brothers and sisters laughing with her. In her heart, she was already thinking, maybe this is the man I will marry. But as the taxi moved further, Chioma noticed something strange. They were leaving the busy parts of the city. The sound of traders, buses, and shouting hawkers slowly faded behind them. The roads became empty. Streetlights grew fewer. Houses scattered until there were only bushes and lonely paths. Chioma's smile slowly disappeared. She looked at Ikenna, but he kept staring out of the window, calm and quiet. Her chest tightened. "Ikenna, are we still going to your house?" He turned and gave her a faint smile. "Yes, my love, don't worry." But Chioma's heart refused to rest. Soon, the taxi slowed down and stopped in front of a cemetery gate. The iron gate stood tall, dark, and rusty. On the signboard above, the words were almost washed away by rain and time. Onitsha Memorial Cemetery. Chioma's voice shook as she gripped Ikenna's hand. "Ikenna, what are we doing here?" But Ikenna looked calm, his face unreadable. He only said, "Just follow me, my love." Her legs became weak. A voice inside her screamed, "Run away!" But her heart, blinded by love, made her follow him. Step by step, she walked behind him, her feet trembling. As they moved inside, the place grew colder. The evening wind blew sharp against her skin. Tall trees surrounded the cemetery, their branches swaying as if whispering secrets. Graves stood all around, some new, some old, some broken, leaning sideways. The silence was heavy, broken only by the sound of her heartbeat. Suddenly, Chioma stopped. Her body shook violently, her teeth almost chattering. She could not take another step. "Ikenna, please, tell me this is a joke. Tell me we are passing through. Where are you taking me?" Ikenna stopped walking. Slowly, he turned around. His face was sad, his eyes heavy with sorrow, like a man carrying a burden too big for words. He looked at her for a long moment, then pointed at the graves. His voice was soft, but it cut through her soul. "This is where I live. This is my home." Chioma's eyes widened in shock. Her lips trembled. She shook her head violently. "No, no, it cannot be true. You are joking, Ikenna, please, you are joking." Before she could step back, Ikenna's body began to change. His handsome face faded, his skin grew pale, and then, before her very eyes, his whole body dissolved into thick smoke, rising into the air and vanishing completely. Chioma let out a loud, piercing scream that echoed across the cemetery. Birds flew from the trees, scattering into the dark sky. She turned and ran, her wrapper almost falling off as she stumbled over broken graves. Her legs carried her with the strength of fear, faster than she had ever run in her life. When she finally reached the main road, her strength failed. Her knees buckled, and she collapsed face first onto the ground. Passers-by who saw her rushed to her side. "Madam, madam, wetin happen?" one shouted. Another lifted her carefully. "She don't faint. Quick, carry am go hospital." They placed her in a keke and hurried her away. Chioma's body was shaking even in unconsciousness, her lips whispering only one word. "Ikenna, Ikenna."
Chioma woke up in the hospital, sweating and shaking. Her body felt weak and her chest was heavy, as if she had carried a mountain. When she opened her eyes, she saw nurses and doctors surrounding her bed. Their faces were filled with concern. "What happened, madam?" one nurse asked gently, holding her hand. Chioma opened her mouth, but no words came out. Her lips trembled and her throat felt dry. Tears rolled down her cheeks as flashes of the cemetery returned to her mind. Ikenna's sad eyes, the graves, his body turning to smoke. Finally, with a broken voice, she whispered, "My fiancé, my Ikenna, he lives in the grave." The room went silent. The doctors and nurses looked at each other in confusion. Some frowned, others shook their heads slowly. One whispered, "Maybe she's running mad." Another sighed, "Chioma, she must be imagining things." But Chioma knew what she had seen. Her hands shook as she held her chest and cried. The next day,
The news spread quickly. Onitsha was a city of gossip, and the market was the heart of it. Traders, buyers, and even children carried the story from one corner to another. Have you heard? Chioma fainted because her boyfriend is a ghost. Hey, I knew it. That Ikena, nobody knows his family. Nobody has ever seen his house. Ah, Chioma don't suffer. Fine girl like her, see how she wastes her love on spirit husband. Some mocked her. Now she too rush man oh. Now love go kill am. Others pitied her. This girl gets good heart, but see wetin love don't do to her. Chioma could not bear the shame. In the hospital, whenever people came to visit, she turned her face away, covering herself with the bedsheet. Her friends tried to comfort her, but she refused to eat or smile. At night, she cried silently, hugging her pillow until it was wet with tears. Her heart was broken into pieces. She remembered all the times she had dreamed of marrying Ikenna, of building a family with him. Now those dreams had turned to ashes. She whispered to herself, "Why me? Why did I fall in love with a ghost? What kind of curse is this?" But deep inside her heart, another voice kept calling, "Ikenna still loves you. He did not want to hurt you. There is more to his story." And so, even in her pain, Chioma could not forget him. Her love for him fought against her fear, and her mind was caught between running away forever or searching for the truth that almost destroyed her. Thanks for watching this video. If you want us to continue, kindly tell us on the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Like and share.